Invincible, invincible, invincible. This is not the best time to be talking about this. If I really was trying to be money hungry, I would drop a vid like this once the new season drops. You feel me? But I'm not here for all that. I'm here to speak, bro, to give y'all something. And today I want to talk to y'all about Invincible. You know, I know he gets his butt whooped. No, oh, that's not Invincible, that's Vincible, etc. He kind of falls under the Sasuke umbrella, where like he's not a fraud. He's just always punching above his weight class. He's like Renji, because Renji boxed Ichigo and lost. It's Ichigo, his main character. He then boxed Byakuya and lost. That's his captain. Like it's this recurring theme with certain characters where they punch above their weight class, and normally there's a meaning behind it. And I want to talk about Invincible. You know, one of his first squabbles with Battle Beast got cooked. And all these fights is looking at him like, yo, what is he doing, bro? If he did this, he could have, you know what I'm saying? He could have won here. He being stupid. He's not being intelligent. Well, I'm here to tell you that that's the point. Invincible is not invulnerable. He's very vulnerable, both emotionally and physically. I think that is the point of Viltrumites as a whole. You look at Kryptonians, they're like invulnerable to like hella stuff. They're almost completely indestructible. The only thing that messes them up is kryptonite. You feel me? You look at Saiyans, bullets, nothing. Bombs, nothing. The only thing that can really mess up a Saiyan is ki. And you gotta have so much more ki than them to damage them to such an extent. You feel me? Like those species, in terms of aliens, were made to be these monsters, not like in a bad way, but these freaks of nature that just get stronger and stronger and stronger. They're meant to be the symbol of regality, of power, of commanding presence. While Viltrumites, though some of those features are still there, I think they're meant to be vulnerable. They're born with something called smart atoms. That's what helps their DNA repair and do all those crazy things. That's why, to me, in a real life scenario, I get a genie bottle, only get 3 options for a wish: Kryptonian, Saiyan, Viltrumite. I'm going Viltrumite because I don't want to be like OP immediately. Now, it's the same argument. I get it sounds stupid to some because the same argument as people say, "Man, I'm not trying to go to the gym. I'm not trying to get too big." So many people in the gym, they're trying to get too big and they're not too big. You think yo ass gonna get too big? You gonna be Ronnie Coleman magically? You feel me? But I choose Viltrumites because their DNA, the smart atoms in their DNA, is what makes them incomprehensibly stronger over time, equal to the challenge that they face. They have crazy survivability. I choose Viltrumites for that as well. If you took any Saiyan in Dragon Ball and you ripped their guts out, that's very graphic. I apologize to any viewers that weren't expecting that. This title did not promise such a graphic video, but you rip the guts out or the brain out of a Viltrum, I said not a Viltrumite, out of a Saiyan or a Kryptonian, they are dead. Unless they are Superman, they are dead. That's why those types of injuries don't happen in Dragon Ball. Most of the time in Dragon Ball, amputations don't even happen because they don't have. They have increased regeneration, kinda, but they still need sensu beans and stuff like that, like Saiyans. Kryptonians, same thing. They need a lot of sunlight to regenerate. They're already constantly at a high level of regeneration, so if they're able to get whooped in broad daylight, they're not gonna just heal magically. Viltrumites, on the other hand, you rip their guts out of them, they can still survive that. You just put them just back, stitch up the skin, they somehow survive that. You didn't even have to do that. Like Mark, when he spoilers, skip like 30 seconds ahead. Mark, when he fought Conquest, I think for the second time in space, if I'm remembering the comic properly, guts ripped out. All he did was put them just back in and wrap the bandage around his torso, and he eventually heals perfectly fine. So these smart atoms, these kind of like machines that are like atomic in nature, repair their like cells and stuff. But on top of that, being a Viltrumite, they cannot breathe in space. They can hold their breath. They have extremely high lung capacity, but they can't breathe in space. They also aren't born automatically able to be Thrag or Nolan. On top of that, they even have a weakness that's not like some kryptonite joint where it's like it should be impossible to find, but like inverse, they have some excuse why everybody has it. Well, that's kind of cap. I don't like lying to y'all. That's kind of cap because technically, kryptonite is just shards of the Krypton planet. It's not a rare thing found on Krypton. It's anything that is Krypton rock. Their entire planet is technically made out of kryptonite, even though they had like grass and whatnot. So technically speaking, since an entire planet exploded, there probably is a bunch of kryptonite floating around in space somewhere. But to get back to the point, Viltrumite's weakness is not some impossible thing. It's a sonic frequency. Yeah, it's very specific frequencies. Like loud attacks aren't going to kill them or anything, but like that particular frequency fries their brain and kills their equilibrium. They not only become unable to fly, which I thought was going to be the case because their flight is explained way more than other superheroes' flights. And when I say superheroes, I specifically mean aliens that are like, Kryptonians, Saiyans, Tamaranians. Their flight is explained by like their propellant, like they're creating leverage with like the atoms in their body kind of. They're creating leverage and then they're able to move off that based off their equilibrium. That's how they fly. So you think, oh, you hit that frequency, something happens in their ears, they can no longer fly because they don't know up from down, so their power will malfunction. No. This frequency hits, they're crawling. They can't even walk, bro. They're meant to be vulnerable. They're meant to get beat up. They're meant to battle it out. I think that's why they did such a brutal thing on their planet to where only the strongest survived. They're meant to be vulnerable. And Invincible, once again, is not invulnerable. He's instead very vulnerable and very Viltrumite. And Viltrumite is very close to Vincible. And that's what he is. Now, Invincible is meant to be a symbol. He is what personifies humanity. Viltrumite genes take over 99% of whatever DNA they mix with. That is why, even though the race that Oliver is die really quickly, Oliver will still live for a millennium, probably. Right? I'm not gonna spoil anything that happens in the comics. But Viltrumites live for that long. You feel me? They live long as a mug. And unlike Saiyans, it's not some process where they age and then their aging like stops, kind of regresses. Well, no, it is like Saiyans. But Saiyans age in like big boop, 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 boop. Viltrumites instead, they age regularly, and then as they age more and more and more, the process of aging slows and slows and slows. And I'd argue it's probably because of the smart atoms. It's like, okay, cells are replicating at this rate, cells are dying at this rate. As you get older and older, that regeneration is supposed to decrease. We know this is happening, so we're slowing that down. It's kind of like Gojo's Infinity, but they're not immortal, so clearly it's not as effective as Infinity. But they're designed to live for a very long time. And their DNA takes over 99% of whatever DNA they come in contact with. Yet, Mark exhibits every human trait. He was raised by his mother. His mother is a great mother. She's a great parent because she instilled values in Mark. He wanted to be a hero like his father, but when that very same hero to him, not only as his father, but as Omni-Man, said, yo, you're like me, let's take over the world, he said no. When that same father put paws on him and made him a meat grinder of human flesh, he didn't stop fighting his father. He kept wanting to put up a fight because you're wrong for what you did. He didn't even want to forgive his father. He spent so long saying, I'm not like him. And when he saw his father again, he realized, that's my father. I have to forgive him. And that's what he did. It took time. It takes time. But as a Viltrumite, what do you have but time? When Omni-Man asked him the famed question, what will you have in 500 years? His answer is, I'll have you, Dad. And spoiler, skip 30 seconds ahead. Spoiler. In the comics, At the end, when he's with his kids, 500 years later, he has his family, his daughter, his son, and his wife, who was effectively immortal. So, what's interesting is Mark, Invincible, he's more human than most humans. He is a paragon for humanity. He gets upset, he gets angry, he gets like the little Zenkai boost that Gohan got. Oh, it's because he's a half breed adrenaline. Every other race has adrenaline. He's extra angry. He's righteous. He makes mistakes. He does things for the sake of others. Yeah, any hero does that, but his is more human. His is more reasonable. He watched that. I can't remember his name. That's how like irrelevant it is. But he killed his own wife and kid because he was mad at Invincible. Mark didn't kill him after that. Mark gave him another chance. He's human, bro. It's not just I'm invincible. I'm unstoppable. Every other Mark is invincible. You get what I'm saying? They're invincible, but they're not invincible. Peep this. When I say they're invincible, they literally are unmoving, are stubborn, and are aliens. While the invincible we get is very invincible. He's very vulnerable. He makes mistakes. He gets angry. And when the world is on the line, no, I have to stay in the hospital with my girlfriend. Yeah. Gets us upset. Get to boxing. Go save somebody. But he's not alien first. He's human first. Before, to spell invincible, you cannot spell invincible without vincible. Put it that way. The invincibility comes first. So next time you think of invincible, I want you to think of the invincibility and the vulnerability that comes with that. You know, he trains. He makes mistakes. He argues with Cecil. He doesn't even have his philosophy set in stone when Cecil calls him childish. Cecil's right on a lot of things. He's also very, very wrong on other things. If you know, you know. But Invincible is a character that was designed to be invincible. Down to the Viltrumite DNA that I described at the beginning of the video, which other Viltrumites try to ignore, but later in the series we find out that they're actually family people. They're very family oriented. They only did it because it was orders. You feel me? But they're very family oriented. Like when they're asked to repopulate Thrag's orders, some of them choose to only have one partner. Nah, I really love her. They don't do that on this planet, so I'm not going to do that to her. I'm not going to break her heart like that. If Nolan was really overly Viltrumite, as he claims, as he set claims, you know what I'm saying, before he flew off and threw a tantrum because he couldn't kill his own son, he would have had somebody besides Debbie. But he said she was a pet. He was being literal just in the fact that she has a limited lifespan. As a human, it hurts to hear that your mother or someone you care about is a pet. Like, what are you talking about? They're human. Mark gets upset at him calling his mom a pet. Why? Because Mark does not see himself as an alien hybrid, or as his DNA is 99% Viltrumite, he doesn't see himself as a Viltrumite. He sees himself as a human. Who the fuck are you to call my mother a pet? That's very upsetting. I'm going to punch your face now. But if you think about it from Nolan's perspective, if we were, look at our pets. We don't hate our pets. We don't abuse our pets. You treat your pets with care and love. But the reason they're pets is not because you think they're any lesser, but you are literally more capable than your pet in a at least 80% criteria of activities. Yeah, your cat can probably run faster than you, hunt better than you. Yeah, your dog could probably do the same thing. They hear higher frequencies than us. They smell more than we do. But they can't think functionally in the way that humans have mastered being able to think functionally. We've tamed animals. We've taught animals things. But they haven't been able to get that skill that we have to be able to replicate the ability to learn skills at a mass level to where we learn everything. Right? Everything we're exposed to, we have the potential to learn. That's what it means to be human. So our animals are called pets. Being called a pet doesn't mean you're an animal. But if we look at how the term pet is used, shorter lifespan than I, not going to live as long as I, probably slightly less capable than I, but I still love and respect you. You feel me? Now, is Nolan not a line for calling his wife a pet? 100%. That's not what this conversation is about. This conversation is about the fact that Invincible, when hearing the fact that his mother was a pet, got upset. And that's because before being a Viltrumite, being human comes first. Invincible is a tale on how there is strength behind being vulnerable, behind making mistakes, behind giving yourself the opportunity to learn and grow, behind not culling someone for being weak and giving them opportunity to grow, to let them land. That is who Invincible is. That is the strength behind Vincibility. As always, make sure you like the video. Comment down below for me your favorite Invincible character. And then if you've made it this far, I mean, I just said the other thing like 5 seconds ago, but you didn't click off right there. Comment down below if you would rather be a Viltrumite, a Kryptonian, a Sand, or some other alien species. As always, hope you guys enjoyed the video. I'll catch you guys in the next. Peace.